Welcome to this Thursday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you this morning. We're going to talk to Jeffrey Wright at some point. He's actually doing his real job for a minute, but he'll get to us here in a little bit. So appreciate the time he gives us when he does so. The podcast is brought to you again by the Oxford Exxon Highway 6 West in Oxford. You know by now you get great gas prices, Speed Pass Plus app, the mobile rewards program, and much more. Daiquiris, ribs, lunch specials, $4.99, two sides of bread, 32-ounce drink, all the good stuff you know and love there at the Oxford Exxon. You go next door to the Oxford Crystal and use your basketball ticket as a coupon, $150 off a steamer pack recyclable with the Oxford Crystal. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. That number, call it, ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. It's right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote, and the rest is up to you. I would recommend that you get your quote and you get into your Clark Ford today. You'll love the product. You'll love the service after the sale. Corey wants to be your car guy. He wants to be your truck guy. He will prove that to you. 662-257-1900. Jeffrey Wright and other guests join us on the Rafters Music and Food Hotline. It is Super Bowl weekend, getting closer to it. Rafters is open Saturday and Sunday for lunch. Be a great place to watch Ole Miss LSU basketball on Saturday. I'm thinking about heading over there and doing that on Saturday. If I do, I'll let you know, and you can join me, but you don't need me to go over there and see it. Great lunch specials, great food, great drink specials as well. And then for Sunday, the Oxford Board of Aldermen have voted to extend bar hours until 11 p.m. on Super Bowl Sunday. So it's going to be open, and you can they'll be selling drinks, and you can buy drinks the entire Super Bowl between the Chiefs and the 49ers. They'll have $2 mimosas at brunch, $3 domestics during the game. Brunch begins at 10:45. It features $3 mimosas and their famous $5 Bloody Marys there at Rafters Music and Food on the Square in Oxford.
How many people sent you the story of the snake in the couch yesterday? How many times did you get it?
50.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Twitter, message board, email?
Email, yeah.
It's every time there's a snake.
Yeah, and I just delete.
It's because you've gotten so whatever about it, they just have to keep on. What it is.
Well, and it's the worst part is we're getting into snake season now soon.
So suddenly,
and so every time somebody's got a snake in their yard, I'm going to get photos, and my sleep's going to go to hell.
Well, it's like I don't really think about it, but over the course of the year, you know, I'll find people will send me 5 or 6 really impressive snake photos from the golf course over the year, where you don't realize. Amazing the amount of times probably have been 4 feet from me, and you just don't notice it or see it or anything, and you just move on with your day.
Yet another reason not to play golf.
Snakes.
Yep.
I do like the pitching ninja shirt. It's good.
Yeah, it's a cool shirt.
I like that one. It is a great logo. It's a really good logo.
Oh yeah. They're I can't remember what company I bought this shirt from, but their shirts are very comfortable.
So for people that are not aware of what we're talking about. Less than a month into the new decade. I don't know why that matters, but anyway, it's from Men's Health is where I'm reading. A resident of a South Central Kansas resident called 911 and said he made a terrifying discovery. There was a giant snake hidden in the couch. Gets worse. There are 162 species of snakes living in the United States. 42 of them are found in Kansas. However, that list does not include boa constrictors, which is what police and emergency workers rescued from this unlucky homeowner's living room. 6 feet long for this snake. According to local news reports, the residents, we'll get to nesting wild in a bit, had lived in the same duplex for the past 4 years and never owned a snake. So it's unclear how a boa constrictor, which is native to South America, got into the couch. Luckily, the fire department's resident snake charmer, wouldn't you want that job?
No.
Was able to wrangle the creature and get it safely out of the house. Now police are asking anybody in the area who is missing a snake to give them a call and keep a closer eye on their pets. So this dude's been living here 4 years. He has no idea how long a 6-foot boa has been in his couch. I would want the entire house inspected with every fine-tooth comb you could locate.
Well, you know my philosophy on this.
You would burn the house down at this point.
I would say, well, Mr. Snake, the mortgage is yours, and I'm gone. And when the collectors come to me and say, you have not paid your mortgage, I'll say, it's not my mortgage, it's the snake's mortgage. Take it up with the snake.
It is his residence.
And something tells me my mortgage would disappear, my credit would go back to normal. They'd say, I'm not going over there. because every time this guy goes to bed, he says to himself,
"Well, there only one?
It takes 2 snakes to make a snake."
So where's the other one?
How do you know this was just some renegade snake and not a part of a pack of snakes? A snake family. You can't stay there anymore.
Well, I've told the story on the podcast about how one of my buddies in college, his roommate had a pet snake and had gone home for the weekend. And when my buddy went into his apartment, the aquarium or whatever was empty.
Oh.
And he spent the entire weekend not having any idea where the snake had gotten to inside the apartment.
Yeah.
Stayed there all weekend.
See, I would have finished my entire weekend at a hotel.
Hey, Dad, the emergency credit card. This is an emergency.
Yes.
We're headed over to the Hampton Inn. Sorry.
I wanted to explain what happened here.
If Carson calls you and goes, "Hey, my roommate got a snake and we don't know where it is." Okay, go.
I'll be there to help you move out.
Oh, move out.
On my way. Yeah, no, I'm not living under. No, non-starter.
Trinity on the live chat says, "Well, ball pythons are pretty cute, though."
No, they're not.
What's the one that's gotten sent to you the most? The dude who's like throwing the cobras around the little cage.
Oh, I
thing?
get that one all the time.
Is that the most?
Yeah, and for the people out there that think that's funny, it's not. It's not cute. Stop. Don't. I beg people not to do this anymore. It's horrible.
It doesn't bother you that much.
It's horrible. Yeah, because I have nightmares about snakes. If I wake up screaming, Laura doesn't have to ask what was the dream. She knows.
This is a really impressive snake. I'm looking at a picture of it.
Mm-mm.
They got a poll on here. What do you think? What do you think the percentage is? What are you more afraid of, spiders or snakes? What do you think the percentage is? It's on Men's Health.
Oh, I thought you were asking me.
No. I know your answer. You'd rather have spiders crawling all over you.
Yes.
Than see a snake.
Yes. I'll say it's 55% snakes.
I thought it would be closer to snakes. 85%.
Yeah, smart people. We got a shot out there from civilization.
85 to 15 spiders.
You can avoid a spider.
They just don't bother me. If I saw 10 spiders sitting here on the table, my pulse wouldn't even increase.
No, I'd get rid of them. Yeah.
Okay.
Done.
Great. I can't just a snake.
No, like I see a spider in the pool all the time. Doesn't bother me.
You'll let him go.
And throw him over.
Yeah.
See a snake in the pool? It's like chaos. Total chaos.
Roaches don't bother me.
Laura loses her mind over roaches. Starts screaming, I got to go in and get it.
Really?
Yeah. I'm not crazy about them, but it's fine.
I mean,
I'm not scared of them.
Well, there's nothing to be scared of with a roach. What's it going to do?
Nothing.
It's just there. It's just kind of gross.
Yeah.
It's fine. I guess spiders are sneakier, but
I don't know.
I don't know because like
a 6-foot snake hidden a couch. That's pretty sneaky.
And can't snakes thin themselves out so much that like they can slip through any like doorway and stuff? Like,
shut your mouth.
Can't they do that? I thought snakes can like literally like thin out to like a piece of paper and to slide in.
You are the worst person I know. You.
We'll go to Jeffrey in a second while Neal's recovering over here.
You're a horrible human being. That is so bad.
You didn't know that?
I don't. Stop. Yeah. Check the house with a flame.
It's fine.
Snakes can't go over ropes.
Whoa, that's not good. Why is that not? Hold on.
Leif makes a great point.
Everybody just chill for a second. I've got an issue. Jeffrey, you there? I'm here, guys. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, let me put you into the call. 1 second.
Jeffrey makes Leif makes an excellent point. In the Bible, when the devil showed himself, he didn't do it in the form of a tarantula. He did it in the form of a serpent.
We were discussing the 6-foot boa constrictor that was found inside the Kansas resident's couch here in the last few days.
Why?
Why what?
Why does this get attention?
Because you know who
there's
here.
There's enough evil. There's enough crap. Like, you know, you
I'm
in the
with
mainstream media just trying to scare everyone. You know, why not talk about something positive?
Neal did not like the fact that I told him that I thought snakes could thin themselves out to the width of a piece of paper to get under doorways.
Again, I go back to my original point. Why is this a topic? Why is this a
okay?
I'm completely on your side, Mr. Wright.
Here's my last question on this. This is for Jeffrey. What's scarier, a 6-foot snake or that spider that was like the size of a small puppy?
I still claim it's the spider that was the size. No, it wasn't the size of a small puppy. It ate small puppies. It was, it basically, I guess it was, diameter wise, it was probably like 3 feet. That thing's still scarier.
It was in the Amazon, right?
Correct. Which is where monsters live.
Yeah. I mean,
like the only thing that keeps that thing from actually being entitled a monster is the fact that we can identify what it is.
I mean, who intentionally lives by the Amazon? I mean, why?
I mean, no one. Like, that's the whole point. Like, it's tough to get out of the third world status when you have the jungle right next to you.
Exactly.
Did the ridiculous and incompetent Knicks give you an extra hour of radio last night?
The last I don't know, I guess 5 minutes certainly did. When you get a nice fight, you get one of the Morris twins opening his mouth. Yeah, that's what we would call a free space. Thanks be to the Knicks.
Did they really turn the water off in the visiting locker room? Is that true?
It certainly appears so. I've not worked on my New York sources. I've not immersed myself in needing to confirm that, but it certainly appears to be.
Is there? Here's a good question.
Okay.
Is there a professional? And before you just do some knee-jerk answer, think about it. Is there a franchise in professional sports that is run anywhere close to as poorly as the New York Knicks?
Okay, here's where I struggle with the Knicks, and I understand the whole Dolan and whatnot, and the thing that's fascinating about the Knicks is when you actually like read about Dolan, he's a fairly hands-off owner. He is the type of owner that you want in that he doesn't really meddle. The problem that he has is he wants to bring in Phil Jackson. Like he's not a great hirer. And so then they just kind of run it back continuously. And I mean, in general, it's tough to think of a more poorly run organization because they are in the number one market in the United States of America in a league where players want to go and be in that market. So he has a systematic advantage, and they can't do anything. But I mean, in terms of poorly run franchises, I mean, I don't get how, but we got to include the Mariners at some point in this, right?
The Browns
got to be up there.
But you make a good point. It's the Knicks. I mean, imagine taking that ownership group and that GM and that administration or whatever and putting them in Oklahoma City, where you don't have some of these intrinsic advantages and things. Talk about nightmare.
No, stop.
Sorry. Neal's going to need safe space before I'm done today.
You know
what I mean?
Completely
Pick
agree.
your place. Milwaukee, whatever.
The better example would be if you took the Thunder organization
and moved it to New York.
They'd be dangerous.
I'd take your Sam Presti and raise you a Zach Kleiman, who has built a playoff team in 6 months. So your move, NBA.
You know what? Those two guys, seriously, the jobs that they're doing in Oklahoma City and Memphis, respectively, is absolutely remarkable. Really and truly remarkable.
I mean, I understand, obviously, there is some luck getting to the lottery. And not only that, finishing second in the lottery. So therefore, you
Sure.
didn't finish first. You're not the team that has to deal with, you know, teaching Zion how to walk differently and having to deal with, is this guy ever going to be healthy? And now he is healthy enough to play. You're having to, you know, essentially over, halfway through the season, you're trying to figure out how to implement your number one pick, who is a stud. You're trying to figure out how to appropriately use him while also trying to get back into the race for the playoffs. Like, that I don't think that's an easy task that the Pelicans have. So you're the team that ends up getting Ja Morant. I also tip my cap to them. They told him, as soon as they saw they got the number 2 pick in Chicago at the draft lottery, they told him, we are taking you. They never wavered on that. They made the moves with Mike Conley that have yielded results that they're still acquiring assets for, and they'll continue until they move Iguodala. And you're able to go up and get Brandon Clark. You were the team that didn't let, his short arms deter you. And you hired a coach that had never had a head coaching interview until yours. You identified him. And, really, when you look at it, the only move that they have made in their time running the show, which really dates back to about the trade deadline of last year, the only move they've made that I don't think you can say was a hit at all is signing Marko Guduric. And that wasn't, unlike previous regimes where you're going over to Europe and finding a sharpshooter that you're trying to make your third scorer. He was someone that they were taking a flyer on, and at a reasonable cost. He has a guaranteed contract, but I mean, it's like $2 million. It wasn't some type of absurd risk to go and get him. And it's mind blowing. It's one of those examples where, in theory, when you're like, well, if they would just do X, Y, and Z, and if they would start to do, treat this organization like it's a small market, understand that it's an asset business, and operate under those guidelines and restraints, this isn't rocket science. And, everyone goes, that's just such a, that's such a new age, like, hot take. Like, it's not as easy as you think. It's like, well, they literally just took a team that had no hope, and the only real pure luck move that they had was getting Ja Morant, getting the second pick. And granted, the Warriors had to collapse in the manner that they have, and the Blazers had to be, injury riddled and struggling. The Pelicans had to get off to a bad start. But I mean, they're right now in the lead for the 8th spot in the playoffs, and it's going to be difficult for a lot of teams to catch them that are behind them, because ever since they've moved DeAnthony Melton into the lineup, they've moved Guduric out. And they got Ja back on December 9th. They're one of the 3 best teams in the NBA.
Memphis 24-24. They're in the 8th spot. They're 2.5 games up on the Spurs, 3 up on Portland, 3.5 up on Phoenix, 5 up on New Orleans. Everybody else is down. Oklahoma City 29-20. They're in the 7th spot, 1 game out of 6th. Here's the other story. We'll get off the NBA in a minute before people lose their minds, but I do want to get your thoughts on this. Is this what's happened with the Rockets? Right now, they'd be the 6th seed. They're actually tied with Dallas for the 5th spot. They'd have to play Denver or Utah, quite frankly, 2 teams that would beat them in a playoff series. If that happens and they get bounced in the first round, whether it's as the 6th seed or the 5 seed or the 7 or whatever, what's that mean for the Rockets organization? What does that mean for this whole Harden-Westbrook combination? And you got to remember, Houston, to get Russell Westbrook, basically gave away their picks over the next few years in much the same way that the Clippers did to get Paul George.
I think it's a fascinating spot, because when you look at Harden, I mean, the reason why, look at what Chris Paul's doing for the Thunder right now. The reason why the Thunder are as good as they've been despite a slow start, Chris Paul, God, I hate saying this. I mean, Neil, he's been one of the 5 best guards in the league this year.
If he doesn't make the All-Star team, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I've never liked the guy, if he doesn't make the All-Star team, he got robbed.
Yes. Now, you can also say, well, that could be, the universe balancing itself out, because there's been All-Star teams he's made that he hasn't deserved. And
that's true, but I'm just talking about just 1 year.
But
this is a year that he absolutely has played at an All-Star level.
This is a year that he has certainly earned it. And you look at the reason why he's not on the Rockets anymore, and it's because him and Harden can't get along. And yet again, it's another person him and Harden can't get along with. And
that's
so
to interrupt you for a second. Yeah. He got this reputation in Houston, and I always thought it was deserved that he was the bad guy. And hell, he might have been. Who knows? But he hasn't been in Oklahoma City. In Oklahoma City, he's been the leader. He's taken Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Lou Dort and all these guys sort of under their wings, and he hangs out with them. I guess there's nothing else to do in Oklahoma City. I get all the jokes, but it doesn't matter. He's taken all those guys under his wing. He takes them out to dinner. They go to the G League games on their off nights and stuff. I mean, he's just sits around and talks ball with these guys, and he's made them better, and he's done everything they've asked him to do. And he's really sort of reversed his reputation a little, and it's gotten it back to where people say, maybe the problem's in Houston. Maybe the problem wasn't Paul. Maybe the problem is something either with Harden or with the whole Rockets organization.
Yeah, and whether or not it's causal or reactionary, I mean, maybe Chris Paul maybe he learned some lessons because he got ran out of town. Like, you know what I mean? Like, or the truth is probably somewhere in the middle of what we're discussing, because Chris Paul has also had a well-earned, difficult to play with relationship. And, maybe, at a certain point, like, it just had a shelf life between him and Harden. And I think the bigger concern is that Harden has had, in my opinion, multiple opportunities to win that series that kind of establishes him in the tier that he wants to be established, which is one of the best players of his generation. I mean, he got the Warriors shorthanded. They knock him out. It just feels like every time he comes up, the Clippers one year, I remember they have like a 3-1 lead, and every time he has the opportunity to kind of win that series and go, he's more than just a regular season scorer. He's more than just a scoring guy. He really is this type of player. And he doesn't win that series.
Yeah, no, it's more than fair. I mean, at some point, it defines all the great players. At some point, it's about, can you put a team on your back and go win? And he's not been able to do it yet.
I mean, I think it was absurd to begin with, but think about how much just winning that one title in 2011 meant for Dirk in terms of the way he was viewed for the rest of his career.
Oh, there's no doubt. Yeah, one run.
I mean, it's similar to Andy Reid, by all statistical measures, is an elite football coach. Every person that if you look at like the list of names that he is included on, and not only wins, but playoff wins, there's only one thing that stands out. He's the only coach on that list that hadn't won a title. And that's why I think it's interesting on Sunday. I mean, because I watch the Niners and I think, good God, how do you beat them? I don't know how you stop them from running the football. They have run it on good teams. They've run it on bad teams. They've run it on every team. And then on the flip side, I go, how the hell do you stop Mahomes right now?
I don't think you can. So I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I actually think for our boy here has kind of given up on the NFL since the Saints got beat, and then this week everything's been distracted by, rightfully so, by remembering Kobe Bryant. I think it's going to be a great game.
I think so too. And now watch it be, 17-3, and just unwatchable. But I think it has all the elements for being a really good game, because you have good offenses that are different offenses, and they're different than there's no way to simulate what the there's really no way to simulate what the Chiefs do in practice. It's really tough to simulate what the Niners do in practice. And so I think it's going to be a situation where these are good defenses, but I can see where the Niners get after Mahomes a little bit early and he looks slow, but man, I think their offense is going to be a lot like LSU's, where Clemson came out and had an extremely good plan to confuse LSU up front. And once they figured out how to block it, it was on. And that's kind of what we've seen with the Chiefs this playoff run. And honestly, if you go back to when they lost to the Titans, I think it was I want to say it was like week 11.
Yeah, it was about 7 weeks ago. So yeah, that's about right.
They haven't lost a game since, and they've won in a lot of blowouts. And it's like once they figure out how to block you up front, it's just the boat race is on. And the same thing with the Niners offense. They're an explosive running team, and it's not like they're dependent on explosive runs. It really is fascinating how Kyle Shanahan has built a team very, very similar to when his dad was at the peak with the Broncos, in that, it's plug and place running back. They will run it on you no matter what. And they've got enough weapons on the outside to really hurt you in play action. And you better score with them, because, man, this is, I don't know, like eye test wise, I think they've been probably the most impressive team on both sides of the ball this year.
Mm-hmm.
But like at a certain point, man, is Jimmy Garoppolo going to beat Patrick Mahomes?
Well, that's kind of what I was going to get to. You mentioned Shanahan, who I think's we all talk about legacy a lot because that's what sports people do. We talk about what Mahomes' legacy will start to become if he wins the Super Bowl. Let's say the Niners win the Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and Kyle Shanahan had Atlanta as an offensive coordinator, had Atlanta on the precipice of a title. We all know what happened, 28-3 and all that stuff. If he turns around and makes the Niners a Super Bowl champ this quick, look at what the Falcons have been pure trash since he left.
Look at Matt Ryan's numbers since he's gone.
Yeah, do we start to
also look at Matt Ryan had good years. I'm not disputing that. But also look at his numbers before Shanahan and look at that one MVP season. There seems to be one factor that really weighs heavily on those numbers.
Yeah, so that's my question. If Shanahan wins this one, do we suddenly rank him in a completely different does he move way up the rankings of NFL head coaches? He's done a hell of a job there.
He certainly should. I mean, I'm not trying to be a prisoner of the moment, but in terms of schematically what he does, I like what he does better than what the wonder kid McVay does.
Is that
Shanahan's not quite as stubborn, in my opinion.
Okay.
And granted, there's a lot of similarities because they all work together. They they came up with the working for the same people, so they have a lot of the same concepts. But I don't know. I was very disappointed this year in the Rams in this. When you got exposed like you did in the Super Bowl, and here's how you got exposed. You got exposed because you didn't have a quick passing game, the type of passing game that was going to force the Patriots to get out of their game plan. And you just continued to try to stay true to your identity and whatnot. The fact that they didn't put in, the type of quarterback-friendly concepts and air raid stuff with a kid that spent most of his career coming up playing in the air raid, that just didn't make sense to me.
Well, I got you for a couple more minutes. Just kind of curious here, considering you're younger than me enough for this to matter, and you went to school out there. What's sort of your perspective on some of this Kobe legacy stuff this week?
Yeah, it's been a weird week, and you also understand why this story has resonated, because despite the fact that Kobe is in general probably not a relatable human being. I mean, most of us can't relate to being the best player of a generation, or one of the best players of a generation, tremendously wealthy. We can't relate at that, but I think what happened is it was the shock factor and the factor that he was, in the end, like, yeah, okay, it was in a helicopter, whatnot. He was taking his kid to a basketball game with, the other parents and their kids on the team. And I think everyone has some type of experience doing something similar. And then, I think that has made it resonate. I don't know. It's just, I just feel like it's so complicated. I understand that I don't think a human being should be within reason. I don't think a human being should be judged on the worst thing that he's done, especially when it appears that there was a considerable effort to change. I I acknowledge that. I acknowledge the impact that he's clearly had on the players of today. I think that was very obvious to me watching the reaction to the news. You see how impactful he was to so many of these guys, and what an idol he was to some of these guys. And but at the same time, it's like, yeah, man, what happened in Colorado was uncomfortable. I guess that's the question. It's like, was it uncomfortable or was it criminal? It's not really here for me to decide, but it has been. I think for me, the most interesting aspect of it has been the intensity of the reaction, because it was much, much stronger than I thought. I mean, this is the type of reaction that we saw when Princess Diana died. Like, this is more on the level of like Princess Diana, John Lennon dying than it is, you know, a world leader.
The relatability is not what you talk about. I think the relatability is about growth and about what we all hope that we do improve as people as time
We're
goes
all
on.
flawed.
And,
We're flawed human beings, and trying to
17 years later. Yeah.
I completely agree.
I think that's was he kind of. It's amazing how a couple years makes a difference, because you don't remember much at all of Jordan, especially in his prime. So was he kind of your guy?
I'm still in that Jordan was.
You got
I mean,
Twilight.
I got to see championships.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I did have to see the 4-5, and no one wants to see the 4-5, but we fixed it. We switched back to 23, and it was back onto Titletown, baby. I mean, Bulls up. I mean, it's. But you are right in that Kobe is. Like, for instance, my friends that are actually from LA, yes, people do exist out there that are from LA. It's fascinating. It truly is like finding a unicorn when it's not someone that moved to LA, it's someone from LA. And you are 100% right. Like, they have this reverence for Kobe that they don't even have for like Magic. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just fascinating. Who's on your show today, bud?
We got a big show today. So on Jeff's show, we'll have Dan Devine. Dan up in New York. He's going to give us he'll give us the eyewitness account of what happened last night at Madison Square Garden. Chris Harrington joins us. Steve White will discuss the NFL. Also excited, Peter Calkins is going to make an appearance today. He, of course, the youngest son of Jeff, and while Woodrow Wilson had his 14 points, Peter Calkins has his 5 points on why the Grizzlies are actually good, and this is not fluky. So I'm excited to hear that.
Cool. Have a good day. Talk to you soon.
All right, guys.
They are actually good. They're not fluky.
Who's that?
The Grizzlies.
They're fun.
Well, since
they are engaging. They're
truly. I meant what I said earlier. Memphis, Oklahoma City are two of the most fun teams to watch.
They have the ability in the NBA, a sport that I will never really care about, but kind of like what the Titans did in football a little bit, where if they're on or they're around, I kind of give it a look. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's not the best team in the league, but it's fun. It gives me some interest.
Morant's got a chance to be a superstar.
Oh, you look back.
He's got it. He's got all of it. He's got it in spades.
How many people in the pool for current players had Draymond Green with some of the more interesting Kobe takes of anybody that we would run across?
Oh, what did Draymond say?
he really talked about how hard he did not focus on Kobe the player. He hit the part that I find most as a human interesting, talking about what those final moments had to be like as a parent and as when you know what's going on and that. Draymond got choked up on some of that kind of stuff last night. It's like I don't read a lot of his writing, but like Shea Serrano, I think he was a ringer. It's what he talked about too. He said that really couldn't process it yet, but he told a story about how when he was with his kid flying somewhere and his kid goes, he said when his kid realized he was at 30,000 feet, he kind of freaked out a little bit. It was like, hey, what if the plane goes down? And Shea was writing about, well, as a parent, you just say whatever you got to do in that moment to make it okay. He goes, obviously I can't actually make sure the plane stays in the air, but I tell him, hey, I got this. We're fine. It's going to be okay. He goes, and the kid kind of pushed me and goes, well, but why? And he's like, so I just start talking. He goes, and I'm telling him the story about how I'll wrap him in cushions and I'll throw him at a pillow factor or in the water or whatever. And he goes, I'm just trying to figure it out, just spitballing. And he goes, eventually it worked. He calmed down. He was fine. We moved on. He goes, but as a parent, you have to kind of believe that. He said, so I almost started telling myself, hey, I really could find a way to make this okay. He goes, of course I can't. I have no control over anything. But he goes, that's kind of how I see it. And he goes, in those seconds or however long it was, you still had to kind of be a dad right there and whatever, and just what that had to be. I think as time goes on, we're all caught up with that part of it is unimaginable at this juncture.
What's the part of it that we can relate to?
Right. Yeah.
Jeffrey made a great point. I mean, we'll never know what it's like to be the greatest anything. I'm never going to be the greatest anything.
Mm-hmm.
Kobe was certainly in his generation the greatest basketball player for a period of time on the face of the planet. Made tons of money, had inexplicable fame, unrelatable fame, I should say. But in that moment, what was he doing? He was in a helicopter and not a bus or something. But he was taking his kid to a travel basketball game that he was coaching. A travel basketball game. That's pretty relatable. And in those final moments, I mean, there's rumors, and look, it's internet. But Carson came down and told me about it, and Caroline was like, yeah, I heard that too, that when they found the bodies that she was in his arms.
Really?
Is that true? I don't know. It gives us a certain degree of comfort to think that she was, in that however many seconds of pure terror they had. That.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I think yesterday, and this does not matter. I think I heard somewhere it was 14 seconds of some sort of fall where they knew there was a problem. Somewhere around 14 seconds.
That's a long time. It's a lot of time to think.
Mm-hmm.
You think a lot in 14 seconds. And in those 14 seconds, he was a dad. And that's the part that I think gets us all. That's, if this was Kobe Bryant at 81, dying of natural causes, we'd celebrate his life,
mm-hmm.
and we'd talk about his highlights. And, wow, man, I remember back in the day when he was – but a lot of time would have passed. Would have been generations of players. Ja Morant would be in the Hall of Fame. Ja Morant's kid might be done by then.
Yeah.
But it was fresh. Kobe still looked – when you saw him, he looked like, hey, man, give me a week.
Give me a week. Yeah,
give me a week. And let me get taped up, and I'll be out there. And I might not be able to go every night, but I'm gonna get 20 on your ass tonight. And nobody would have doubted it.
Yeah.
I mean, if Kobe would have said, "Hey, who's coming to town? The Knicks."
1 day contract.
Give me a 1 day deal. Give me a week to get ready, and I'm gonna put 27 on the Knicks. I'd be like, "Yeah, I get it. I can see that." I mean, it would have been no part of me that goes, "Nah, come on."
Yeah.
And so he still looked like that guy.
Yeah.
And the memory of him being dominant. Still pretty fresh. It's only been about 10 years.
Yeah.
When he took the Boston Celtics and kicked their ass. And so it just, I don't know. But it's the dad stuff that's getting everybody. It's why I can't think of her last name right this
Duncan.
Duncan on SportsCenter of all of the tributes, and there have been some amazing, beautiful, poignant tributes. Hers is the one that went viral. Hers is the one that created the hashtag that thousands and hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of men participated in pictures of their daughters and stuff. And I think I said this yesterday. I feel like I'm being repetitive, but to me, it's the part of this that is the most fascinating, is what we will remember, I think, most about Kobe Bryant years from now is not what an incredible basketball player he was, but I think we'll remember how in his final years he really embraced fatherhood in a way that is inspirational for all of us who try to be really good fathers.
Yeah, his last title was in 2010. MVP was in 2008. Trying to see in my mind how long ago it was. Yeah, around 10 years since just dominant. Last All-Star, obviously, in 16. He finished. Okay. It's tough.
Yeah. It's you see the reactions, genuine reaction from guys like Kyrie Irving last night, and the number of guys who wore number 8 who've taken it off, changed to 9 or changed to 20. One player changed to 20. I can't remember who changed 28. To 28 because GG wore number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a league full of ego. Okay, I mean, to be a great NBA player, you got to believe.
Yeah.
You got to believe you are the best.
You're the guy.
You got to. If you're Kyrie Irving, you got to believe, hey man, ain't nobody better than me.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're in trouble. Because you're going up against Damian Lillard and cats like this, Russell Westbrook and Ja Morant. There's always some young dude coming up to kick your ass. You got to believe something about yourself. And for those guys to go, yeah, but I wasn't Kobe, and I can't wear this number anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, it's powerful.
Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. Underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. You're getting local underwriting and understands your market. A leader in condo financing, the float down option, namely rates as low as they've been in about 2 years. Good time to talk to Jason. That's 662-234-2704 or JLOWE at communitymtg.com.
We are also brought to you by Oxford University Bank. OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. When you call OUB, you speak directly with a live person. No 10 buttons to push, no 5 minutes to wait. What they do offer is Kasasa. It's the absolute best cash checking account. And with Kasasa, OUB will pay customers 2.5% interest on their balances up to $50,000 and refund ATM fees nationwide. They also have a commercial checking account, now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. Comes with fully interactive online banking. To learn more about OUB, check out liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. We're also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, Grenada Nissan's the place to go. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. Brought to you by John Edwards of Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about golf trip with the guys, anniversary trip to Florida, one of the resorts, go to the Caribbean on a cruise, whatever the case may be, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows him to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits simply not available to other travelers. All you do is you give him a call, give him an email, give him some parameters, give him a budget. He will give you options you won't find on your own. 901-494-3387 or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. We're also brought to you by the Westin Jackson. It's a Marriott property in downtown Jackson. It is home to Soul Spa, the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. Also home to Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro, which is home to craft cocktails, curated wine list, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. All the offerings there from Chef Caden are fantastic. You will love them. Next time you are in Jackson or passing through Jackson, highly recommend the Westin Jackson.
So Vanderbilt did set the record last night. Sewanee is off the hook. Vanderbilt now lost the most consecutive SEC games in conference history. They did give Kentucky a little run, though. They were up 10 at one point in the second half.
Yeah, gave him a little jolt of adrenaline.
Yeah, I was laughing at somebody. I follow Kyle Tucker on Twitter, and somebody messaged him, and I guess that time Kentucky was up 4 or something in the second half, and somebody goes, "Hey, I just got out of church and saw the score, and should I be concerned?" And he was like, "Well, less concerned than you would have been had you gotten out 15 minutes ago." Bandy played well, just doesn't have anywhere near enough in the tank for that one, but nonetheless. Speaking of streaks, however, Ole Miss running into a little more of a different kind of buzzsaw on Saturday against LSU. While Vanderbilt has lost that many in a row, LSU in their last 25 SEC games, 23-2.
Will Wade, boy, something else.
It's so grimy. Like, even in a sport that is grimy and can be grimy, it's another level. I just can't. I can't let it go. There's something about Will Wade that just can't do it. He bothers me more than any other college basketball coach, I think. I don't know. Coach K gets on my nerves too from time to time. But
yeah,
like the other day, like scream, like, shut up.
Yeah, what was he upset about? Because they were telling Jeff Capel to come sit with them.
Yeah, he was just.
Yeah, he had an old man yell at cloud moment.
He did.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, quit. Shut up.
23-2. Yep, just X's and O's, baby. X's and O's.
And nothing's going to happen, is it? Ever?
I mean, I doubt it.
Makes you wonder what it would take. Because it's not like we don't have. I mean, like, yeah, come on.
I mean, you know, they'd probably have to get him on the phone. Oh wait, they already did. Probably have to have him on the phone making an offer. Oh wait, they already did. I don't know. If you're LSU, you got to feel pretty invincible these days.
All the way around.
Ain't nothing stopping you. Ladies, lakes.
It is amazing how perception and whatever dictates so much with the NCAA and how they attack things. Because it's almost like, oh, LSU, just a bunch of fun-loving people, so let them go whatever. You know what I mean? Whereas other schools, it's really an Ole Miss thing, just in general. Oh, well, no, whoa. That is untoward. It's all about what they think your box should be.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
What box are you in? We'd like you to stay in your box.
There's no doubt about that.
You get outside your box, we have a problem.
Now, is that an NCAA thing or is that a media thing?
It's both, but it's a little bit of an NCAA thing because look, there's no way to prove me right or wrong. I have a hard time believing other programs with the same level of evidence as LSU or potentially some other people. And now, look, it flies in the face of what I think sometimes because a lot of times I think, hey, if the NCAA investigator could hit the blue blood, they would because it'd be huge for them. I do believe that.
I do too.
But I do think there creates a separate burden of proof maybe. I don't know really what it is. But it does feel different for
Does
whatever
LSU
reason.
get credit in basketball for in the midst of a really good season? Just hear me out.
Okay.
In the midst of a really good season, this popped up and they did the whole, hey, you're not coaching the rest of the season. We've got to self-investigate this. They did take action. Do they get credit for that? I'm not saying they should because I think they should get hammered. But
You get a little credit for that.
they did that. They did that whole, hey, you know what? Because what that said behind the scenes was in a year where they won the conference title, hey, let's shut it down. We got busted. Let's hit the reset button. Let's make it look like we really have some contrition here. Let's look like we're going to really dig in. And then they come back and go, hey, we did 6 months of investigating. We couldn't find anything. No, he said these things, but y'all, we can't prove that he did them. He's our guy. Now let's go get Trendon Watford out of Mountain Brook and let's get rolling. Because that's kind of what they did. It makes you wonder, not to get into the whole Ole Miss Hugh Freeze thing, because I'm in too good of a mood. But if Ole Miss would have said, you wonder, I'm just asking hypothetically,
okay,
hey, you know what? He shouldn't have done that, and we're gonna suspend our head coach for 6 weeks while we dig into this real hard and real deep, and then come back and said, we couldn't really find anything. Or we found a couple of things and we're going to punish ourselves a scholarship or 2 scholarships and some visits, and Coach Freeze isn't going to be allowed to go out on the road for a period of X weeks or whatnot. Would that have changed the game? I don't know. I'm asking. Not. It's all. It's
if there was one thing that I think would have changed the game, it would have been getting rid of Barney or putting him on the field early. I think that changes the game.
Yes, there's no doubt about that. Ole Miss doubling down on Barney Farrell was the worst thing they could have done. Farrar. Worst thing they could have done. Doors Rules 28 says, "Can we talk recruiting?" I tell you, I not generally like that. If you have a specific question or two, ask it here in the thread. I'll try to answer it.
Georgia Rebel with a good point. Why did Clemson get the pass? It was a slow build. That helps. But
well,
why?
and when they had that moment when the NCAA questioned them, they did the real contrite thing. You know what? We did do this and this and this, and we got to fix it, and we're going to moving forward. They didn't do – Ole Miss's problem was Freeze, frankly, and for Farrar, just the whole, hey, we're doubling down, bitches. Here we go. You got something? Email it. Otherwise, shut up.
You can say it's doubling down, but it's not doubling down. It's inviting everything in. You know what I mean? It's actually the worst on both sides. You're being whatever, but you're not application-wise being whatever.
Right.
You're just saying it.
Right.
So you're inviting them in to look through everything. You're handing them information and doing a really dumb thing on that side, but then on the other side, you're arrogant about it. Well, which way is it?
Yeah. It's like
either give them the middle finger and tell them to off, or be really, like you said, really contrite and play their game. One or the other. Don't do a little of both.
I think what you do is what Alabama does. I think it's absolute genius, and I don't think they get enough credit for it, Chase. They run their program, okay? But whenever anything goes wrong and it goes public, someone pays for it right away.
Yeah,
Done.
An axe comes down and
an
then move
axe
on.
falls. And the NCAA is told, hey, look, we found out, we isolated it to Bo Davis or to whoever, and he's gone. The end. Mm-hmm. And the NCAA goes, well, tell you what, okay. Saban never doubles down on, hey.
Does whatever he has to do to keep them off campus.
Yep. Credit, man. Seriously, people should emulate that.
I think Ole Miss, and this is going to fly in the face of what a lot of people think because they keep talking about risk. If Lane starts recruiting well, I think Ole Miss will get a bit of a break because Lane will get credit for bringing in those type of guys.
I do too.
That it's acceptable and understood that Kiffin can get those guys.
And I think if something happens, Kiffin will execute what needs to be executed.
Right. You ask about Krzyzewski, his quote. I thought it was something personal. I apologize to students for that. I don't apologize for the timing. You shouldn't say that in the middle of the first half of an ACC game. This isn't some cutesy thing where you can just bounce a ball around and giggle. We've got to fight. It's a mistake on my part, but I'd rather make the mistake in protection of my guy. Let's think of a different cheer. Defense, let's go. Come on, Duke. He beats the table rhythmically and leave the other guy alone. Hey, you coach Duke. Capel doesn't play for you.
Yeah.
I don't think you want to lose your student environment there. It's kind of what you're known for, bud. Back off. Shut up. He's fully in the wrong here. Let the kids have their moment, as some would say.
Doors Rules ask in the chat, he says, I know you can't get into too many details, but what the heck is going on with Zach Evans, and would you leave him alone if you were in charge? He's going to go to Georgia if he goes anywhere. The only other school that is even remotely involved is, ironically, LSU, and I don't think they're all that involved. I talked to someone at North Shore yesterday. I won't use a name. He asked me not to. He says Tennessee's involved. Florida pulled out for sure. He says LSU pulled out for sure. Not sure about Texas A&M. He says Tennessee was supposed to have an in-home with him, and he wasn't answering their calls.
Right.
He's been doing that to everybody. If I were these coaches, I wouldn't mess with the kid. That's not the right look if you're going to ghost the coaches. So to answer your question, would I mess with him? Probably not. If I'm Ole Miss right now today, do I want that? Probably not. Gary Pitt says chances on Nigel not transferring here. I don't know. I haven't heard that. Get your thought on this, Chase. If I'm Ole Miss, I don't get into the habit of letting kids know, hey, if you don't want to come here originally, go someplace, try it out, and if it doesn't work out, you can come back here. I don't want to get into that.
I don't want to be the landing spot that they can always fall back on.
Because at some point, you become the bitch, frankly. You know what I mean? When the girl's dating another guy and he dumps her and then she calls you, hey, can I come over? I'm sad. And you say, sure, and she comes over and you console her and things get better and the two of you kind of together and then she goes back to him or back to somebody else. Then if you just become nothing but the phone call at 1 o'clock in the morning, at some point you did it to yourself. If I'm Ole Miss, I don't do that. If I don't take Nigel Knott. And here's the thing. He's leaving Alabama.
If he can't play for another SEC school, why can't he play for you?
He's leaving Alabama because he's not good enough to get on the field there. They're processing him. You going to take their sloppy seconds over and over? No, hell no, I don't take that kid. Hell no, I don't take that kid. And I'll say that if Ole Miss takes him, I'll say it's stupid. And everybody go, oh, you're the worst guy in the world. You're out to get the program. No, I'm not. I just explained exactly why I would not take him. Other people will dote all over him and go, oh, he was so good in high school. Yeah, well, he couldn't get his ass on the field in Tuscaloosa. So when you take that kid, you're admitting, yeah, we'll take kids that can't play elsewhere. And then you wonder why you can't beat them? No.
We mentioned it in passing yesterday. Djokovic did walk past Federer in the middle of the night.
Fed was hurt.
7-6, 6-4, 6-3, three-setter there.
Yeah.
He showed up. He gave it a shot, but
did his best.
You're not going to beat Novak on a day like that. So, anyway, Djokovic into the final, and I expect him to win it again.
Who's he playing?
I don't think the other matches happen yet. It's the guy that beat Nadal.
Oh, yeah. That dude's good, by the way.
I think the 7 seed is the other one.
Yeah.
I don't remember. I'm so disconnected from tennis than I used to be.
I know.
Used to be really into it.
I know. You were all into it.
Nah.
You come in here talking about some random cat from Netherlands or something.
I mean, frankly, the lack of parity is part of it. I mean, still to this day, it's still the same dudes over and over and over and over again. I mean, it's that deal where you want it to move on and you want some new people and some interest.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's such an interesting era that you don't necessarily want that to end either.
Sure.
That over a 15, 20-year period, it's essentially 3-4 dudes every time.
You also see the absolute paramount importance of being completely healthy. When someone like Federer's not, he just can't compete.
It's over.
It's over.
Yeah.
No shot.
Because somebody else is, and that's the difference.
Yeah.
That's the way that works. If you haven't seen this, I'm not going to read it, but Vanessa Bryant did give her first public statement in the last 12 hours or so. This is interesting, actually. Kind of an NBA show today, but it's okay. Set to release revised salary and luxury tax projections for 2021, thinking everything's going to go down. It's going to be interesting for players because the way the world works, everybody just expects salaries to keep going up and everything to keep going up and everything to get more and more and more. It will be an interesting mindset if things actually drop. Have you not seen this?
I've not.
Okay, I'll give you a little heads up here. The NBA has alerted teams to the impending release of adjusted 2020-2021 salary and luxury tax projections, signaling the likelihood that a decline in revenue will cause a drop in the figures, league sources told ESPN. The league office is expected to deliver revised projections as soon as Thursday, an accommodation that allows teams to make more informed financial and roster decisions ahead of the trade deadline. The advance notice and pre-trade deadline timing of these looming projections, communicated in a recent league memo, is a departure from past protocol. The loss of the league's China-driven revenue has caused many front office executives to tell ESPN they're preparing for the possibility the original projection of $116 million could drop as far as $113 million.
Wow.
Teams inquiring with the league office about getting some sense of the projections to come were told they would have to wait until the NBA shared them in a formal release, and it goes on and on and on. But essentially, yeah, they're expecting a drop in salary cap for next season.
Phew. You better be efficient.
Well, and you better be in a situation to be able to handle that. I mean, some franchises are going to be in a whole lot more of a place to do that than others right now.
Yeah. No doubt.
And the NBA has a very complicated salary cap. It's insane.
Literally every organization that's with the apparent exception of the Knicks, every organization has people that are brilliant mathematical minds that are in their front office that do nothing but interpret the cap.
They're called capologists.
Yeah.
And that is their job is to
understand
run
the
and
taxes
play
and
and do that kind of thing. And it's fascinating. I mean,
but if you're a team like the
frankly, it'd be the hardest part of going to a professional beat is learning enough of that to be competent to cover it.
Yeah.
Because I'd have to start from scratch. I'd have to get a book and read it.
That's what they do. You get the CBA and you start studying it. And try
Well,
to
I actually
understand
saw, I've had her on the podcast years ago, Courtney Cronin covers the Vikings for ESPN on her Instagram or something in the last, whatever, she's talking about off-season reading, and that's what it was. It was a book about some sort of contract, something she was trying to get better at. I don't remember what it was, but it was something along those lines. So, anyway. Take our last break of the show to tell you about Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape Premium Lawn Care throughout northern Mississippi. But you know they offer a lot more. Mastercuts will build your custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, and any outdoor living spaces with paver patios starting at just $3,000 and forestry mulching starting at just $100 an hour in the patch of your dream backyard. Easier than you think. Visit them online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote or give them a call at 662-607-7773. Again, that's gomastercuts.com.
We're also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Pinnacle Trust based in Madison, Mississippi. They've got clients in more than 20 states, advisors in multiple states as well. They're also home to the Pinnacle Trust 401k Advisory Services team where you can call them. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your company's current 401k plan. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon Podcast. You get 10% off of your first year's fees. It's pintrust.com, PINN trust.com. We were talking about 6-foot snakes earlier in the show, which reminds me to tell you that we're brought to you by Nest and Wild. Sleep better with a Nest and Wild mattress. It is a Mississippi-based mattress company making a high-quality mattress delivered right to your door. They make buying a new mattress easy, and when you buy one from Nest and Wild, you're going to get 12 inches. They're 1 foot thick, giving you comfort and support that will last. From the California King to the twin size, every Nest and Wild mattress is 1 foot thick. Also, you can fight cancer in your sleep with Nest and Wild because they have partnered with former Major League pitcher Jason Mott and his foundation in the fight against cancer. They donate a portion of every mattress sold back to Jason's charity. It's a no-risk decision. Nest and Wild believes in the product so much, they're offering a 99-night trial on every mattress, so try it out. Sleep on it for 99 nights, and if you don't like it, you can return it. Nestandwild.com. Order your mattress. Use the podcast code REBEL20 and get 20% off your purchase. Your mattress will arrive at your door in 3 to 5 days. A little later this morning, the final edition of Neal's Picks will be published. I've got Zach's pick. I just got to put it into the story, and then we'll hit the button. It's brought to you by Southern Craft Stove and Tap. They've got your pregame and pre-concert needs covered. So whether you're headed to Oxford for the Rebels SEC basketball slate or to Tupelo for one of the many events at Bancorp South Arena, make sure you get your event started off right with a visit to Southern Craft. Conveniently located off Highway 7 and Sisk Avenue in Oxford and at 205 East Troy Street in Tupelo, Southern Craft has all your Southern favorites ready to serve your hunger needs. Drop in, enjoy a curated cocktail or one of their many craft beers on tap, and don't forget about the catering. From private events to catering in for your staff at work, Southern Craft has your catering needs covered with a meal everyone is sure to love. So make your day crafty at Southern Craft Stove and Tap.
Dodgers going after Mookie Betts. That would be quite the lineup. Should that happen?
What will they give up?
I don't know. I haven't seen that.
He's only got 1 year of control. So if you get him and you can't extend him.
I have a hunch they're very frustrated by their lack of titles and that anything for 1 year to get in a window is worth it to them right now, frankly. I think they're in a very short-term mindset.
Got to be careful with that. Speaking of labor, the MLB.
The minor league thing?
No, well, that too. But the MLB labor agreement with the Players Association expires at the end of the 21 season. There is a lot of talk that is pretty vitriolic, acrimonious. It is not pleasant. Kris Bryant lost his, as everyone knew he would, grievance yesterday. You wonder why the hell it took so long. Now there's talk about the Cubs and the Rockies discussing Bryant and Arenado, and everything is about contracts. Everything.
I mentioned that that minor league baseball thing is actually pretty good from Baseball America, and the back and forth that they're doing. So, the letter that minor league baseball sent out says, "quote: It's simply not true that MLB heavily subsidizes MILB. MLB teams do not pay owners and their partner communities that supply the facilities and the league infrastructure that enable players under contract to Major League Baseball teams the opportunity to compete at a high level and establish whether they have the capability to play in the major leagues. That's the minor league statement on why that's not true. MLB comes back and says, this may be the most transparently false statement in a letter full of such statements. Minor League Baseball's entertainment business. The largest single cost in virtually every entertainment business is the cost of talent. Major League Baseball provides MILB with free talent. The provision of this free talent is clearly a subsidy. They have a point.
I mean, it's hard to argue that.
It's hard to argue that. Okay, fair enough. They want to get rid of short seasons, what it is.
Yeah.
I get it.
Sure. Look, it's business. At the end of the day, it's business.
Look, the draft's 40 rounds because sometimes you get lucky and you got to fill a bunch of freaking teams. That's why the draft's 40 rounds.
Yes.
We don't need rounds 35 through 40.
Nope.
Cut it.
Because, well, you're cutting jobs. Well, that's life.
It's like how there's a lot of good things to this collective bargaining agreement, but one of the things that's kind of dumb is the way that you allow some of the manipulation of the draft guys. You know, those last 7, 8, 9, 10 round spots where it goes, hey, he got drafted in the 7th round. I go, yeah, and he made $4,100 because they're saving all the money to pay somebody else. I mean, it's just the way things work right now.
Well, look, I'm typically pro player, as you know that.
Yeah.
But now look, Kris Bryant's going to be fine. The Cubs are paying him $18.4 million this year, and if he has a decent year this year, he'll make 20-something next year, and if he has a great year this year, he'll make 25+ next year, okay? He's going to be all right. He and his wife are having a baby, and I think they're going to be able to afford the diapers.
Okay.
Going to be okay. That said, did the Cubs manipulate the service time? Of course they did.
Yes, as everyone does.
Now, the Braves manipulated Ronald Acuña's service time, as they should have. Here's where I don't feel sorry for the players. Don't get pissed at the major leagues. Get pissed at the people that run your labor. You agreed to this. You agreed to these rules.
Yeah, you left provisions in that allows them to do this. There's no doubt.
Yes.
Period.
So, of course, the Cubs manipulated it. They could, by keeping
a business manipulated the legal rules to benefit them. I'm really
that
stunned.
were collectively bargained upon.
Yes, I'm stunned.
And they have 7 years of control as opposed to 6.
Yeah.
The Braves did it with Acuña. Organizations do it all over the place. Was Kris Bryant better than Mike Olt in early April of 2015? Well, yes.
Irrelevant.
Yeah, but that's the spirit. No, don't give me that. Nope. That's why at the end of the day, the Cubs are like, come on, man. I am fascinated to see what happens with Bryant. I don't know. I think they're going to trade him. I anticipate something happening in the next month. I don't think it. I sort of know it based on talking to some people who actually know some baseball stuff. He'd like to stay. I don't think the Cubs are going to be able to do it. I think there is something to this Arenado stuff. I don't think the deal in Colorado between Arenado and the Rockies is maintainable. You don't want to go through an entire spring of that. It's a distraction. We'll see. I look at the Braves, and I think, is Ozuna enough in the middle of the lineup? It's something the Braves have to decide. As of right now, they've got a hole at third base, a big gaping hole. Here's the other thing is that the tax threshold is not determined until the final day of the season. It's not the first day. So you can roll your lineup out there over the tax threshold for a few months, let it play, and if it doesn't work, unload dudes.
Right after we finished the podcast yesterday, we realized that if nothing else, Lindsey Graham listened to a portion of the show yesterday, so we had that going.
I know. How about that? If I had known Lindsey
quoted a part of the podcast on Twitter yesterday.
If I had known that Lindsey Graham was listening to our podcast, I would have been.
You going back now and thinking, okay, where'd I go? What'd I say? What happened?
Yeah. I mean, I went back and listened. Like, was it okay? Did it sound okay? Because
we're showing our dorkiness and our ages at this point because it's like, hey, celebrities or athletes, whatever. I couldn't give two credit. It's like, hey, the podcaster heard your show. It's like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tell me today, hey, you're gonna have lunch with Tom Brady, and I'll be I've talked to football players. I mean, I realize he's a really good one, but whatever. Hey, Lindsey Graham's coming over. Oh God, I need to.
You need to tidy up around.
I gotta go clean up. Yeah. Did
you throw the invite out?
I'm going to.
Are you nervous?
No, I mean I'm trying to figure out how to word it where I'm like, hey, I know this is a long shot, but
that's exactly how you do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I can quote tweet his tweet right now and do it. I mean,
you know who I did? I did send something to. You'll laugh.
Okay.
Let me find it on my.
It's where you really need a check mark, by the way.
Yeah, I just don't feel like going through the process. I sent something to Luther Campbell.
Did you?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. I said, I told her who I was, and I said, I was wondering if you might be willing to speak about your friendship with Lane Kiffin, how it came to be, how you were following him at Ole Miss, etc. I know you're busy as hell, and this is a long shot, but shoot or shoot, right? Thanks in advance for your consideration. As of this moment, he has not seen it.
So what happened? Let me find it. Kind of scrolling down.
Hey, good news here while you're looking. Stephen McRoberts is the new volleyball coach at Missouri State.
Oh, good for him.
That's exciting.
All right, let's see. So Lindsey Graham tweets at us yesterday and says, "Thanks for the shout out. I'll recommend that quote, that bobblehead over there is our next American Scandal series." He hashtagged American Scandal. And then a few other people commented on Lindsey Graham's excellent voice and podcast ability, and he liked a bunch of tweets and different things. So yeah, it was good. It was fun.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah, it was like I got like the little notification. It's like Lindsey Graham. I was like, whoa, like what?
Yeah, I know.
What happened?
I
Like
know.
I've only done it a couple times, and it was like when that Harlan Coben followed me on Twitter. And I was like, whoa,
Whoa,
like,
yeah,
what
cool.
happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
Yeah, I got excited about that too.
Yeah,
I was pumped.
Yeah. And there was somebody that goes, "Hey, get him on the pod," and he did like the tweet at least.
Yeah, I'm gonna send him something. I'm gonna send him something in a minute and see if I can get him on. That'd be great. I'd be nervous talking to him, I think. Not nervous, that's not the right word, but yeah, nervous.
You'd be a little worried about your syntax and your tone, wouldn't you?
That guy could read a phone book and I'd probably listen.
It's a top 5 voice.
I was thinking about that. So I've always said Vin Scully's voice, number 1, the best. Vin Scully reading a phone book, I'm in.
Okay. I think there's one, off the top of my head, there's
Okay.
one spot in the top 5. Vin Scully, Morgan Freeman, James Earl Jones, and Lindsey Graham.
They're definitely
they're on my Rushmore, and if we have 5, I'll open it up for guesses at that point. But
That's
I feel like
fair.
it's going to be hard to break that top 4.
For me, and it's biased because it's a generation of listening to his voice. I love
Sam Elliott, very good. That's a good guess.
I love Pat Hughes, but now it's a Cubs
But that's
thing.
such a
It is, but he is he has a phenomenal voice, and listening to him on the radio is very comforting. Literally, man. I mean, I'm gonna goob out on you. The last day of the season, whatever day it is, whether it's the regular season or whatever, I will listen to the radio broadcast, and I get almost. Now I don't get almost a little. I get emotional at the end of it because it's going to be a while before I hear that voice again, and I love it.
Well, and he has a wonderful voice, even though we know him. In 20 years, 25 years, I think Braves fans are going to feel that way about Ben Ingram.
Yeah, I
He's
do too.
a fantastic voice.
I do too.
It's good. It's very steady. It's
He
not this
broke
up
in.
and down thing.
Yeah, he broke in at a generation. Yeah.
Now, people don't listen to the radio like they did, 20, 25 years ago. But for the people that do listen that way, I think he has a chance to be that guy for them.
Yeah, it's like for a Brewer fan, for example, when Bob Uecker's gone, can you imagine being the guy that has to replace that voice?
I mean, we talked about this a lot on the podcast when Vin Scully stepped away, the guy that replaced him for the Dodgers, and like the advice was, do not even try to do anything.
Just
similar.
no, be yourself. Can't.
Yeah.
There's no
Just
replacing.
call the
him.
game now.
Yeah.
If over time, organically, things happen, great. But no.
And in many ways, that's why those jobs are so hard. You can retire Kobe Bryant's number. Nobody else is ever going to wear that number because you can't be you don't get to retire the Brewers broadcast. Although I'm in favor of it. I'm in favor of just shut it down.
Just ambient sound for.
Well, just eliminate the whole franchise.
Okay,
be done with
gotcha.
it. But you can't realistically retire the mic. You have to. Someone else has to start talking.
Somebody else plays shooting guard. Yeah.
Yeah, but he gets to wear a different number.
Yeah.
This person, it's
Same microphone.
same spot, basically the
This
same.
is your that first day Vin Scully's gone, and you got, hey, this is your chair.
Yeah. Welcome to Dodgers baseball.
Yeah.
I am not Vin Scully.
I'm sorry. That's how you open
That might be how I open it. Welcome to Dodgers baseball.
Yeah, we're here at lovely Chavez Ravine. I am not Vin Scully.
I am not Vin Scully.
Yeah. God. I don't know. I'll open it up for that fifth one. Yeah. Let anybody give us some recommendations there.
Kevin Harlan is a thought. He's very, very good.
Okay.
He's very good.
I don't know.
I tell you what, Lindsey Graham is so good that you start listening to other podcasts and it's a different voice and it's not as good. It's hard to get into the podcast.
Really?
I'll give you an example.
Okay.
So yesterday, I decided to try, because I keep telling myself I need to get more educated on certain things. And so I'm trying to do it where it doesn't. It's done by Lawfare and Goat Rodeo. It's called The Report.
Okay.
It's about what led up to this whole impeachment thing. Okay.
Okay.
And it's very informative. It appears to be well done, but it's hard to listen to because I don't like the voices as much. I've been listening to so much American Scandal, and I listened to 1865, and I listened to Wicked Game, American Elections. I've been listening to it. So it's hard. I am excited about the one coming out next week. The Lincoln Douglas.
Is that where it is next week?
Yeah, that's where we are now.
Yeah, I'm behind that. Just searching the internet, some of the examples thrown out. Sean Connery.
Yeah, I can see that.
Patrick Stewart. Alice Bennett, who I don't know.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
Pete Cordelli.
What? What happened?
Ben Leslie said Pete Cordelli.
Oh, Susan Bennett is the person who says she is Siri.
Oh,
That's an interesting one.
that's interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, reading here from CNN says her name is Susan Bennett. She lives in suburban Atlanta. Apple won't confirm it, but Bennett says she is Siri. Professionals who know her voice, have worked with her, and represent her legally say she is Siri.
How about that?
That's an interesting.
Avery Forbes says Ian McKellen. I'm going to admit I don't know who that is.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I'll buy that.
Oh, that helps me. Oh, yeah, that guy.
Well, Google. I don't know.
Thanks.
An actor, Lord of the Rings, The Hobbits, and that stuff. Yeah,
Gotcha,
yeah.
gotcha. I've never watched Lord of the Rings. That's one I need to catch up on. I've had multiple people tell me I should watch it.
It's not my thing, but anyway. Okay, that's probably enough for that. I don't know. RebelGrove.com will have stuff. There'll be things there. There's a message board. And
There's recruiting. I got to get some recruiting up. We're really down to a handful of people. Cedric Melton got an offer yesterday. He decommitted from Arizona. If you can't read between those lines, I can't help you.
Yeah. Basketball, 11 a.m. 11 a.m. in Baton Rouge on Saturday against LSU. We'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. We'll talk something. We'll figure it out between now and then. So come hang out again with us. We appreciate you as always. We'll talk to you on Friday.